On the upside on Channel Africa, we're chatting SA tourism, the future of SA tourism, and how data is shaping new travel markets and better air connections. Joining us now to have the conversation, Siya Mthethwa, who's the Chief Strategy Officer at SA Tourism. Good afternoon, Siya. Welcome to the upside.
Good afternoon, Cici. Thank you for having me.
So we're getting geared up for the SATSA Conference, which is taking place in Cape Town on the 19th and the 21st of August. Chat to us about what that is going to be, unpacking in terms of what's happening on the tourism front.
Sure. Thank you for that. So we're going to be discussing a number of critical things pertaining to tourism, obviously looking at how do we grow the sector, how do we increase arrivals, and how do we collaborate effectively in ensuring that we focus on things that matter for the sector and we focus on key imperatives. So, for example, as you know, next year we are hosting the Cricket World Cup, and the focus then is on how do we then ensure that we leverage the benefit of the Cricket World Cup, knowing that cricket is one of the biggest sport, not only in the continent, but in some of the markets or countries that are considered to be of strategic importance insofar as tourism is concerned for South Africa. So the likes of your India, the likes of your Bangladesh, and those are the markets, and Indonesia and all those big markets in Australia. We want to make sure that we maximize the value of the country, and we make sure that we bring the entire sector to make sure that we maximize on it. And you know that Cricket World Cup is one of the sports that will be hosted in 3 countries, South Africa, Namibia, and Zimbabwe. So we need to look at how we leverage the geographic spread to maximize on that value. So these are some of the things that we will be discussing within the 2 days, and looking at then obviously how do we then grow the sector through our tourism growth partnership program.
So what's currently working where tourism is concerned? You spoke about arrivals, the systems. What would you say is currently our success factor?
Great. So our success factors, as you know, we've got a target that we've set in 2024 to actually increase our tourism arrival to 15 million by 2030. We did this obviously having scanned the market, understanding exactly how different markets work and looking at different countries where we could drive growth. We then came up with a document, or we came up with a strategy called the Market Prioritization and Investment Framework. Essentially, we then said there are markets that we want to play in. We went through a rigorous process in understanding those markets and understanding exactly what type of investment we need to allocate in those markets for us to get the maximum return on that investment. We are now executing on that strategy, and obviously we're doing this in collaboration with the private sector. But what we've also done in addition to that, and having understood and having seen how dynamic and agile the geographic or geopolitical situation is, or geopolitical landscape, we are now reviewing the strategy in its entirety on an annual basis. So to make sure that what we are still tracking is still relevant and our targets are still on the money. So that's essentially what we are focusing on right now, and this is what we are collaborating on with the sector. We will also be sharing this with the sector during the course of 2 days in terms of how we are performing and what it means. And where we need to pivot, we then need to look at how we then pivot collaboratively as a sector. So I think to go back to your question, what works is the collaborative effort, working with the sector through our tourism growth partnership plan and ensuring that we drive what matters. In addition to that, looking at things such as the ease of access. So obviously, it's one thing to go and market South Africa, which is what we are responsible for as SA Tourism. But what is also important is once you've marketed the destination and you've created the awareness and people are willing and eager to come, issues around visas need to be addressed, issues around aviation and route development need to be addressed. And that's exactly what is currently at play and what is happening. Collaboratively working with the airlines through our tourism route development plan, as well as other players in the industry. So those are essentially the things that we are working on at the moment.
Siya, do you know what I find interesting is that as a South African, I feel like we are possibly in the sweetest spot we've been in for a while when it comes to tourism, because everyone wants to come to Southern Africa, and in particular South Africa. So I find it so interesting that we continue to do the work around the data and trying to find new ways in terms of capturing the tourists. What is the data telling us about where these, tourists are coming from and why they're coming to this area of the world?
Sure. So an interesting question. So we conduct a study called the Departure Survey. So what we do is in all our border posts, both the land border post as well as air border post, we conduct a study where when tourists are on their way out, we ask them a couple of questions about their experience. What always comes up, interestingly enough, it's something that no one can teach. It's the warmth of South African people. It's the Ubuntu culture that we have. You find tourists saying that they initially came here maybe for a business trip. Maybe they came here for a conference, but now they are returning with their families and relatives. And what really caught their attention is the spirit of Ubuntu, the warmth of South African people. Generally, we are considered to be the warm and the most welcoming nation. And that's one of the things that actually sort of like sells the destination of South Africa. But in addition to that, we offer an authentic and immersive experience. We've got 11 languages, which means we've got a diverse, a rich culture on the ground. You go to Limpopo, you get to experience a minimum of 2 different ethnic cultural groups. You go to KZN, you get to witness the deep entrenched Zulu culture and various other countries of the province as well, of the country as well. So that's what we offer in one country. So if you travel from, you land at OR Tambo, for example, and you go to Mpumalanga, you get a different experience to Northwest if you travel to Sun City. You could do this in a space of 5 days or 8 days, and this is what we have to offer as a destination. And there aren't many destinations in the world that can give you that deep immersive experience in one area. And that's what we offer.
And how do we as a people prepare for all the work that you guys are doing? I mean, ultimately, this is all collaborative.
Sure. I think from our preparedness, a lot of work has been done around product development and awareness. We conduct, for example, from the preparedness point of view, it's one thing to drive the demand to attract tourists to come to South Africa, but you also need to make sure that the supply side of the equation is ready to fulfill the demand that you've created. So from the demand fulfillment point of view, we've understood that our tourists, they want the township experience, right? And this is something that we take lightly. And that is why when we focus on what we call VTSD, or villages, townships, and small dorpies, we've got specific programs that are designed to ensure that we elevate those products. Because we understand that at that level, those products cannot be tested under the same grading that you would find when you are testing a 5-star hotel. We've created what we call the BQV, or Basic Quality Verification Program, that is designed to test the quality and the readiness of those establishments in the townships and the rural and villages, so that they meet a certain standard, and in so doing, then they are able to then welcome tourists from basically various corners of the globe. So that's the work that we are doing. We are working with various sectors and other departments around safety and security and awareness, because we understood that tourism is not only just a lifestyle thing, but it is also an economic growth enabler for the country. Therefore, it needs to be treated as such, which means that you and I on the street, we need to understand the value of tourism, and we need to be welcoming and more receptive to tourists who are coming to experience how we live, and they're coming to see exactly how we as communities exist.
100%.
So there is the training around that.
Siya Mthethwa, thank you so much for joining us on The Upside right here on Channel Africa. That wraps up our chat this afternoon. The Chief Strategy Officer at SA Tourism. Yeah. There's a lot happening, it's exciting for us as Africans.
I love the fact that he said we need to be more welcoming.
Yeah. 5:30, let's check in with sports. Sakan, what you got?
Sports on Channel Africa. African Perspective.
Thank you so much, ladies. From the tourist trails to the title trails, this